for a contractor looking for efficiency and to just, do what they have to do very easily, an app like QuickBooks is extremely overwhelming. Just visually looking at it, like it takes a learning curve and stuff. So the way we design Jobtable from day one was we want to make it so easy where you can be like a 70-year-old contractor who has like a BlackBerry, who has never even used Instagram, can log in and use the app without any learning curve.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What's up, everyone? Michael Hickman here, founder of PainterGrowth.com, and you're listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. And I have a new friend here and a company I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about. Kosta, I don't even know if I want to try.
It's just how it sounds.
Panagoulias. Dude, say the hard S at the end, or?
Yeah, Panagoulias. Yeah, okay. However it flows.
Perfect. And you are the founder of Jobtable. It's a really cool app. Yeah. I've been like poking around on it, and I love how simple it is. Like, honestly, a lot of software looks pretty complicated, but Jobtable looks pretty simple.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I was really excited to hop on with you and talk to your audience and learn more. So founder of Jobtable. That's one of our differentiators is the simplicity of the app. Like we've truly, I've been saying it's the simplest construction software in the world. I have not seen anything simpler. That might sound biased, but prove me wrong, I guess. So I'll continue to say that until I see something simpler.
Yeah. So I mean, let's start with the origin story, man. How'd you end up where you are today? How'd you get into the trades, and what was that whole villain arc like?
Yeah, so our story is pretty unique. So I come from a software background. I've been in the SaaS business industry now for the last 15 years. My first company, we were providing web solutions to real estate agents. Grew that company over the next 12 years. That company got acquired a few years ago. So, and then about 2 years ago, we started building an app for two of my best friends, Johnny and Charlie. They're my two partners now with Jobtable. They own a very successful plumbing company in Ontario. Started off like two guys in a truck. Now they're both 25, 30 employees. They do mostly commercial, industrial stuff. So we originally were building Jobtable for them internally, just to improve their processes and efficiencies and stuff. So we're building it out for them. It was so impactful for them. We basically decided to package it into an app and put it in the hands of other contractors across North America. So that's what we did. That internal beta version for their company internally turned into Jobtable, and that's where we are today.
What was the problem that you were trying to solve in this plumbing company?
They were just all over the place. There's no standardization. They were using like, I don't know, 7 or 10 different apps and applications, and there was just no standardized process. They were just wasting so much time on admin. So, and I feel like it's construction and contractors, I feel, is such an industry where there's so much room for improvement. Like a lot of these contractors and companies, they're so focused on the day-to-day, the jobs, and like doing the actual job and not thinking about the other component of running a successful business, which is the efficiency and the processes. And I know you talk about this a lot. That's the difference between, being in that status quo, doing 6 figures and taking your business to the next level. So, so the original the problem was just the lack of efficiencies and processes in their flow.
So when you went in as the software developer to go help them in their plumbing companies, what was the order of operations that you focused on when it came to like solving their problems and with a software solution? Like, how did you decide what challenge to start with?
Well, it wasn't me, right? Like that's what makes Jobtable unique. Is this is literally a software built by trades for other trades. So like I wouldn't have been able to build this software, or wouldn't have been able to build it without, building it for an actual user internally with people in the business. I probably could have done it, but it wouldn't have been nearly as effective, right? Like I'm not in the trades,
Yeah.
construction and contract. It's just there's a lot of nuances and like cultural elements that the average person doesn't realize. So, those little things are so impactful to building a software that's actually useful and, effective for
Yeah.
trade. So it wasn't just me. It was very, I wouldn't have been able to do it
Yeah, I mean
without.
that's fine, but I mean when it comes to like, so you're working with your partners, what was the first like feature set that you thought was like the most impactful thing that you decided to start with?
We kind of took it from like, the start, right? So, first is one of the most important assets in any business, no matter what industry you're in, is probably your contacts, your clients, your database, and just having an organized, simple structure to manage people, your clients. From there, typical starting point is from the quotation process. So when you're trying to get a job, how are you going to manage and efficiently track your quotes, see what jobs you had pending? Like they literally had a whiteboard where they're managing their jobs, right? That's probably typical with a lot of companies. They're literally managing stuff through a whiteboard. So just kind of digitize that. So we kind of started it from the natural evolution, from like clients, your quotes. That quote then becomes a job. How do you efficiently manage that job? Once that job is in progress, completed, you're invoicing. So that's kind of the next logical phase. Getting into that. In between that, there's scheduling. So you're just kind of taking like real life practical use cases and kind of making them efficient, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So starting on I mean, just out of curiosity, like once you started developing it, like how long did it take before you had this plumbing company that with your partners was actually using something? Like what was that timeline like?
From the point of them actually using it in their business, I'd say it was about 5 to 6 months.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
what did they notice once they started to use it?
just saving the amount of time they started to save, and just being able to do things from anywhere, not from the office. Like a lot of their functions, they kind of had to be in the office to do certain things, which coming from a software world, I've always found just crazy. So, it started with little, just impactful things like that on the time front, just the amount of time they were able to save on like on minuscule tasks.
Yeah, okay, nice. So then they're saving time, and I noticed on your website that you guys do work with plumbing companies, but you also do work with painters too. When as you kind of like grew the company and the feature set and everything, was there anything that you needed to change or learn when exploring different trades?
What we found was, so right now there's every single trade you go down the list uses Jobtable. What we found pretty quickly is the standard flow and processes of almost every trade is pretty similar, from the moment of like doing estimate, sending the quote, managing that quote, scheduling, invoicing, job managing. Like it's all pretty standardized. So although we built it for plumbers, there truly wasn't much that had to be adjusted to work for another trade. We've pretty proud of how we built it, where it's pretty standardized, and it's kind of evident. I guess the proof is in the pudding, that the fact that there are like every trade is using it successfully. With that being said, there's obviously little nuances within each trade. But that's I guess why there's a lot of other softwares in this space, where you might not find the absolute perfect software to satisfy 100% of your processes and things for your individual company. But I think we do a pretty amazing job at satisfying most of those, from my experience.
So it works with both residential and commercial jobs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, so if I was like a painting company and I wanted to like start using it, or like what, actually, even before we get to that, like just run me through, like we'll go through them one by one. Let's not just burn through the whole list, but let's just talk about each one by one briefly. All of the different like problems that Jobtable solves, or all the different features that you guys have built into your software. I did watch a couple like YouTube, demos and stuff, so I got kind of a good idea. But just for anyone listening in, what are some of the features? Let's just go through them one by one.
Yeah, so we can go high level on the main ones, of course. So one, I touched on it, like the client. So I always like to start there, just how important your database is. So just a very simple way to manage your contacts. That's one. Next, quotation. So we have
On the database, do you have like
Yeah.
email functionality, and can we send email and email blasts and things like that?
That's actually, that's actually in the works. Long story short, there's a lot of things in the works. This is a never stopping evolution
Of course,
of what we're doing. But yeah, that is one of the components where we're able to send newsletters, tag certain clients, segments, and things like that. Yeah, that's definitely on the way. But you are able to send like one-off communication if you're like sending a reminder of a quote or invoice and things like that. So yeah, that's the client side. Second or next on the list, I start with quotations. We built a very super easy to use quote builder system. So you can create very professional, high quality looking, visually appealing quotes from your phone, from your computer, from anywhere. With the ability to obviously send to the client and actually get digital signatures. That's one of the key components that we encourage all of our clients to utilize, and try and get digital signatures on all of your quotes, no matter how big or small. I think just that's so important to protect yourself as a contractor, as a tradesman. So, there's a lot of, I was actually looking at it.
I just had a question on the digital signatures.
Yeah.
Like Adobe and HelloSign and PandaDoc and all these have like some kind of like authentication to like make it a legally binding signature. Does Jobtable do anything like that? Like, is there authentication, or how do you make it like a legally binding signature?
Well, there's a few steps in, but so when you're sending a quote, the client receives a quote. They can, they get the quote as a PDF. Then in that email, there's a link where they can view and approve the quote. So when you view the quote, there is a checkbox that you have to like physically select or click on to acknowledge that you've reviewed and approved the quote. There's legal binding verbiage there. So the action of clicking is very important with agreements, just like signing up to an app. Like you have to click on a checkbox, right? Then at that point, and only at that point, you can then digitally sign the quote. There's a confirmation of such, and that's the digital signature process.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't see payments. Payments aren't part of it yet.
Yeah, there are payments. We're integrated to Stripe. So if you want to accept credit card payments, you simply create a free Stripe account, very easy, connect your bank account, and then do a simple integration with Jobtable. And then every time now you send an invoice, you have the ability to add a Pay Now link where they can be directed to put in their credit card for payments as well. And that's all synced into the app.
So that's pretty cool. One of the things that I was talking about on I had a group coaching call today. We had about 32 guys on this call. And a couple girls. But anyway, was like, as these guys are growing their companies, delegating and having the proper workflows specifically around closing up jobs, right? Because if you don't have a good payment process or way for like your crew lead to collect a payment, like it becomes a hassle. You got to go back, you got to collect the payment, talk to the homeowner, things like that. So if someone's closing up a job, just walk me through what that process is like, from having the client sign off on the project to collecting payment to sending a receipt, etc.
Yeah, that great question, and that's one of the key components of Jobtable that just make these things so easy to track and stay on top of, and just make sure nothing slips through the crack, like invoices and getting paid. So beyond quotes, there's an invoices section as well. And a lot of these sections overlap within the apps. You can access, do things from no matter how you use it. But when it comes to invoices, it's kind of impossible in the app to kind of lose track of this stuff. So you can very easily see right in front of your face, like what's unpaid, what's pending, like who owes you what. You can pull reports in 2 clicks to see which client owes you and how much, how long they've how long invoice been unpaid. In regards to jobs, so the way we've set up job managing, so when a quotation gets approved, it becomes an active job. When you've then invoiced that job in full, it becomes a completed job. But now when that job gets paid in full, then it becomes like archived, we call it. So there's 3 steps in that process in terms of closing out a job and how the software handles that. So from active to completed, and then once you receive the payment, it becomes closed out, as you say.
And is it possible to add in like a sign off where like the homeowner or the client actually has to sign off on the job being completed?
Not right now. No.
Okay.
No. Although, look, with that being said, this is why I love having these conversations. We're literally updating and adding little suggestions and features.
Yeah.
I'd say almost every day. So
Yeah.
like it's never evolving, like I said.
That's pretty cool. No, I like that. But I guess also collecting a payment is a form of saying the job is done. But I like a sign off though, especially for painting, because if the homeowner does a walk around and says the job is done and signs off on that, it's a lot harder to get called back for a touch up. Whereas plumbing, you're probably not getting like a call back as often.
Yeah, that makes sense. There is there is functionality within the app that can kind of handle that. So there's a daily log section within the job. So a lot of contractors and companies use this to record progress and daily logs. So I guess that is one way to kind of solve for that. Maybe not completely with the signature, but you can just have your own internal record keeping and log progress on things like that, on conversations and things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then they close up the job. The client says it's good. How does the tech on site close it up with the client and collect the payment?
So a few different ways. So first, I'd like to say that within the app, you can add unlimited team members. And why that's important and the way we've set it up. So you can add unlimited team members and fully customize the permissions in terms of what they can or cannot do or see within the app. So for example, if you don't want them to see any monetary values or invoices, you can kind of dictate what permissions they have. Now, the way our software is built, like I mentioned, so in terms of closing out a job, it's connected to how you invoice that job. So if every line item on the job has been invoiced, if the tech sends the invoice, then that completes the job. But then again, when the invoice is paid is when the job is kind of closed out. Yeah. So that's kind of the structure flow. But the tech does have full ability to invoice and collect payments and record payments and that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Then let's see, what was the next part I saw the job scheduling. You guys had a pretty cool way to schedule jobs. You have the calendar view. You know what? Walk me through a little bit, because design and simplicity is so important to you and the app and the ethos of the app and the value proposition. Just walk me through your design philosophy and how you ended up on the design that you did end up with.
Yes, this was a great question. And, thinking of it, again, it's unique, I think, in terms of how we built the software. So again, I come from a software background. So the way I look at software, a lot of times I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world, but I know it's out there. I use software every single day. But when you're building software for a lot of times an industry where a lot of people are not the most tech savvy, and oftentimes not only tech savvy, but almost intimidated to use software. And I think that's indicative of a lot of apps that are out there, right? for example, QuickBooks. Like a lot of people, contractors use QuickBooks. It's the best accounting software in the world, I think. That's why we integrate to it. Most people use it. We use it. But for a contractor looking for efficiency and to just, do what they have to do very easily, an app like QuickBooks is extremely overwhelming. Just visually looking at it, like it takes a learning curve and stuff. So the way we design Jobtable from day one was we wanted, we want to make it so easy where you can be like a 70-year-old contractor who has like a BlackBerry, who has never even used Instagram, can log in and use the app without any learning curve. And it sounds crazy, but when you actually log into Jobtable, like the first things you see are like, big color-coded buttons. Like that's all you see in the app. So we kind of like gamified it in a way. Everything's color-coded, big color-coded buttons that kind of reference each section that you're in. So it's pretty dummy proof. Like, and I really literally mean that. It's very, very hard, if not impossible, to kind of get lost in the app. And back to one of the first things I said, like, it's the simplest construction software in the world. Like I truly mean that. Like it's very hard to get lost in it. Just a lot of the feedback we hear every day kind of proves that, and kind of, always shows that, we are on the right track with the UI and the simplicity of it. So yeah, I know you pulled it up right there. That's what you see when you first come in.
Just nice and super simple, as clean as possible. And you have the quote there that you can see kind of what the client is going to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So
do you have a way to track, like, so just like as a curious, not that this is like important for clients or listeners or anything, but I'm just curious. So like, do you have a way to track adoption and like who's using what features and kind of like back end metrics?
Like that? Yeah, of course. Internally, that's something we definitely keep track of. If you're a software business, that's kind of fundamental to track like usage and what people are doing, not doing. So yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And did you build this, like you built it from scratch? Are you guys funded or bootstrapped, or like what was your development process there?
We built this completely from scratch, and we are 100% bootstrapped.
Nice. That's awesome, but it definitely comes with challenges. You don't have the 8 figures of investment to hire a team of developers.
No, yeah. So yeah, this is my second bootstrapped company. So I've experienced it. So you kind of know what to prioritize and things. That's what it comes down to, especially being bootstrapped, or with any company. So I'm sure you can attest to it. It just comes to prioritization, right? There's so many things that we want to do, we will do. It just comes down to prioritizing. It's very important.
Yeah. So what have you found? What was like the hardest thing in terms of creating this software that you guys found as you were developing it? Like a huge thing that you had to overcome?
Good question. I don't know if I would use the word hard to do anything. Like, language is important, right? If you say something is hard, then guess what? It's going to be hard, But if something becomes challenging, you kind of tackle that in a different way. But with that being said, I'd say the biggest challenge, I would say, was probably, as of now, the timesheets feature. But even I wouldn't say it was hard. It was just a massive module. So to build out a time tracking, GPS locations, kind of linking it to jobs and job costing. There's a ton of moving parts with that. So that was a huge one. And back to your usage, that's probably one of the most used functions of the app as well. That's very important to a lot of trades. A lot of companies were paying, I've seen upwards of to like $100 a month just for timesheets. And we're providing that as part of our solution included. So that was a huge one. Beyond that, though, right now we're revamping the entire schedule section as well. We're very, very excited for that. That's probably a few weeks away. that scheduling is a beast as well. I would put that right up there, if not ahead of timesheets in terms of challenges, because that I think that's a problem, because there's scheduling and how an individual manages their schedule and builds out their day is very subjective, and it's very like a lot of preferences involved. So knowing that, realizing that, and combining that with just an intuitive, simple solution that could be attractive for anyone, no matter how they like to organize their schedule, is definitely challenging. So I'd actually put schedule ahead of timesheets, come to think of it.
It's not like it's a Google Calendar plugin or anything. It looked pretty custom.
Exactly. Everything we built and our building is from scratch. So schedule. We're excited though. A few weeks away, we should probably do this again, and I'd love to show you the new schedule.
What's the main difference, or what's the main difference in this version 2 of the calendar?
It really caters to everyone, but specifically for service businesses or businesses that are, getting high volume of calls, being able to input things on the schedule. For example, having something in a schedule that doesn't have a time yet. Let's say you get a call from someone with a service call. You have to check through the schedule, so you can, in a few clicks, you can basically operate within your schedule in terms of creating a client, adding a job, assigning team members, rather than going to a few different spots within the app first. So the schedule becomes essentially the hub of your entire workflow, if you wanted, because that's what we noticed with a lot of the users and clients. They really, the schedule is often their hub. That's kind of the first thing you look at. Think about when you get a service call or any call from someone or a new client, you look at your schedule. You see when you can fit them in, who's where. So being able to function through the schedule as your main hub, that's the main difference. How it's going to be.
And do you normally focus on the first rollout happens, or you develop it for the iPhone platform and then go to Android and then web, or what's typically the priority when you're developing?
That's a good question. So our software is a progressive web app, or PWA. So what that means is it's kind of like a lot of new software companies are building apps this way. So we have apps on iPhone, Android, but you don't get it through traditional app store. So, and that's one of the key differences with a PWA. So for example, a lot of apps you might experience, you're using a mobile app on your phone, and there's certain functionality that you can only do on desktop that you can't do on your phone. Whereas with our app, the PWA, anything you do on the desktop can be done just as easy on your phone. That's a huge advantage. Second advantage is there's no updates, or there are updates, but they just happen instantly and automatically without having you to do anything. So with a traditional app, you have to actually maybe sometimes go to the app store if you don't have automatic updates set up, or you have to.
So it's accessed through Chrome or through the browser on your phone?
It's connected through the browser, but it's an actual app. So if you have, what kind of phone do you have? Like an Android or
iPhone?
So if you go on Safari, go on app.jobtable.com. There's a share button at the bottom of Safari, and then you can add to home screen. And that actually puts an app button on your phone, but it doesn't open up the browser. It actually opens up into an app. So the experience of it is identical to an app. You wouldn't even know the difference. So the only difference is how to get it on your phone, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. And so that you can get around the app store.
Exactly. And that's another thing too, to push update. We do updates very regularly, right? So to push an update to the app store could take a few days, and it just requires, back to being bootstrapping, prioritizing more resources, more time, more developers and stuff. So and from the experience to a user, there's literally no difference. So for us, it made sense to go all in on PWAs.
You just got to teach them how to create that.
Which is super, once you explain this to people, it's like, oh, okay, cool, add it to their phone and that's it. So we have instructions and things. So revamping the calendar, what is
what is like next on the production path for you guys, or the development path? Like what are some of the features that are like coming soon that you're really excited about?
Schedule is right up next, so that we're super excited for that.
How
Beyond
many
that,
developers do
there's
you have on your team?
4 developers.
Okay, cool. Solid
Yeah,
team.
couple teams. Yeah, so schedule is a big one for us. Beyond that, in the pipeline, one that you mentioned, which is really good, is email marketing, and be able to send out newsletters, promotions, whatever you want to do to your clients. Documents as well. So we see a lot of trades. Contractors are using Dropbox or Google Drive and things to store documents. We're going to have internal documents
Oh, that's
storage
big.
within the app. Man, I can go down the list. A communication hub as well. So a place where you can communicate and chat, create groups, and just communicate with your team right within the app. Health and safety documents. So yeah, we're trying to cover it, make sure no stone is unturned.
Yeah. Job pictures. I mean,
Really,
you said files, but like kind of like company cam style with the pictures.
yeah, when I say files, like any file type is supported. Yeah, create folders, upload files, videos, whatever file format. That's even accessible now. So within the jobs platform, one of the sections within a job is attachments, and there already you are able to add files, floor plans, like any relevant documentation or videos for that particular job. So you can already store that for a specific job, but we want to make it more like universal as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I did see on the website, but just for people who are listening, like how does the membership fee and cost work for clients?
Pricing is super simple. It's $49 a month for no contracts, and that includes unlimited team members. So just one flat rate.
Okay. And is there any upsells or anything else to unlock, or just $49 for your whole company?
That's it. Simple as that.
That's pretty simple.
Well, transparency wise, we're actually changing our pricing structure, and not say we're increasing prices. So we're actually going to have, by the end of this year, more likely not 3 tiers. We're actually going to have a lower priced option, which caters to a lot of smaller contractors who maybe are like one-man operations or one person, woman operations, who just need very simple functionality like quoting, invoicing, maybe schedule. So we're actually a lower price tier. We're going to keep around that $49 tier, and we are going to have an upgraded tier as well. A lot of the additional features and functionalities that I spoke about. But as it stands today, it's $49 a month. With that being said, whoever's with Jobtable before that pricing happens will forever be grandfathered that rate as well.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's pretty exciting. And
Yeah.
like, what is your vision for Jobtable? Like, where do you see this going in, 3 to 5 years from now?
Just continue to empower contractors. This is an industry that from the outside looking in, like I've been around trades my entire life. I'm actually the only male in my entire family with like cousins, uncles who's not in the trades. So I've been around this industry. Best friends are in the industry. So, but yeah, it's an industry that needs to that needs help, to be honest, in terms of the administrative and efficiency side. So we want to empower as many contractors throughout North America as possible, and just continuing just to provide value. The best moments of my days where I speak to clients who literally thank me and like tell me how many hours a week they're saving, and that just shows that what we're doing is really impacting people in a very positive way. So our goal is just to continue to do that every single day.
That's awesome. And we have some other stuff coming up too. I think we're going to be doing a webinar or a training for clients too.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of alignment, right? We need our clients always need software and tools that are going to help them save time, and they also need the skills to be able to just run smoother businesses. And I think that's where there's some synergies for sure.
For sure, man. And, I props to you. I love what you're doing. Just the content, the message that you put out and how you put it out, I think is so good. So you got to just keep doing what you're doing, man. I can see you touching a lot of people in a very positive way as well.
Cool. I appreciate that. And yeah, man, thanks for coming on, and congrats on Jobtable and where it's been so far. Actually, I do like to ask this question on the spot, no prep. Whenever someone comes on the podcast, I have to put them on the spot at the end. So if anyone listens to the podcast all the way through to the end here, what kind of special offer can you give them that they can't get elsewhere?
Oof. All right. That's a good one. All right. If you listen, if you've listened this far, you want to try out Jobtable, you will get the first 6 months 100% free.
That's huge. I wasn't expecting that, but all right, let's do it.
Do it.
Can you get someone on your team? Get someone on your team to send us a link, and we'll put it in the description below here.
Done deal.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for coming on, dude. Stoked on this, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.